Hello and welcome to the Troublemakers podcast. You may or may not be wondering what the Troublemakers is. We have Matt Catling and Julian Moss here to tell us all about it. Now, Matt, what is all the Troublemakers about?
Well, it starts when I was at school, actually, and the name has come from our principal. He called us the Troublemakers, and we were. In fact, our mission at school was to kind of terrorise the teachers, not to learn in any way. And we had so much fun when we did it. Now, 2 weeks before my HSC, I actually got expelled, and half the school walked out in protest and refused to go back, and turned up to my house with cases of beer, and I think it was 5 days before they actually went back. And so the school called my family and said, we're going to turn it into a suspension, and I was able to do my HSC. And so about 18 months ago, I caught up with all those boys, and we're having a chat, and we were reminiscing and saying, and we kind of said, weren't those times incredible? And we wish we could experience those times again. And they were saying to me they were trapped in their jobs, trapped in their businesses, in relationships they fucking hated, and they wanted to break out. And we thought about the Troublemakers, and I kind of left that kind of catch up, and I thought, entrepreneurs are troublemakers, and what a brilliant name. And so, what if we helped people break out of their job, break out of their business, and break into life, and had the same amount of fun that you have at school, where you can take the piss out of each other in a nice way, possibly, and then help people kind of get out there and do some incredible things. And if you look at where the world is at the moment, every industry is being disrupted, and so it was perfect. And so I launched the Troublemakers, and then I met this remarkable gentleman next to me, who I think is probably the biggest troublemaker I've ever met in my life.
I would agree.
And I will let him talk about that.
Thank you. Yes, after meeting Matt, I became even worse than I am normally. I'll tell you a little bit about my past, and then I'll talk about what Matt will talk a bit about what he's done, and so will Amar. So I was born to be an entrepreneur. I remember at the ripe old age of 8 years old, I set up a bicycle repair shop on the streets of India, and I made 300 rupees. I bought my first shares out of it, and I went back to England and I went to school. And I think the fun part about everything about going back to school was, how could I actually make money at school? And I remember the funniest thing ever was that my mother, and she reminds me it's later in life, on our holidays to Ibiza, this is before Ibiza became Ibiza, the party capital of the Mediterranean, she used to load my suitcases up with bottles of rocket fuel vodka and cigarettes, and I used to take them to school and sell them not only to my student friends, but to the teachers. And that's how I got suspended, because I sold alcohol to one teacher slightly more than another teacher, and a result of that was that they dobbed me into the headmaster. But again, I was allowed to finish my, in those days, equivalent of A-levels, which is your HSC, and I then moved to London, where at the time I had an opportunity to do something really, really interesting, which was pick with a punk. That's where I made my first $1 million at the age of 17 years old. To explain what that is, I engaged a couple of very famous punks from the Sex Pistols. Some of you may have heard of the Sex Pistols. Johnny Rotten, Sid Vicious, and a few others. I knew Malcolm McLaren very well. Anyway, he put me in touch with them. I got Kodak to sponsor it. I went around the hotels to engage with concierge and doorman and gave them a kickback on it. I put a shower cap on your head with a mohawk and fake safety pins, and you got a picture taken next to your favourite punk with a silhouette of London Bridge in the background. And I thought it was brilliant. And I charged £5 back then, and I made £750,000 in 9 months. Wow. Hanging out on the King's Road. It was mad. Then I decided that I had to come to Australia and really disrupt this incredible nation. And I remember all the friends of mine in England, after going to the London School of Economics and Sorbonne University and Harvard Business School, said, you're right here, you're in the right time, don't leave England, because Margaret Thatcher, I used to work on her think tank, which was fantastic. So I was one of the 3 students at the London School of Economics that was chosen to help her build businesses from a entrepreneurial perspective and seeing what we could do with the coal miners and all these other businesses that were not as successful anymore in Britain. But I came to Australia. I got a job at Doyle's restaurant. I don't eat fish, so I had no idea what a John Dory was, a silver dory, or any dory. And I was a waiter, and I got an opportunity to start a recruitment company, which I turned into one of the fastest growing recruitment companies in Australia. It was voted number 4 in the private list, and I made a couple of $100 million by selling that business, but at the same time I was dabbling in other businesses. What I've done over the years is look at industries that are disruptive, that are recession-proof, and I build them up to a certain level where I actually either get bored of it or I'm nimble and entrepreneurial, I move on. So I'm very good at setting exit strategies. I'm very good at building businesses in a 7-year cycle, as I call it, so 5 years and then 2 years to exit. I then decided to build 2 other businesses at the time. Recently, I sold my alcohol company to Asahi for millions and millions of dollars. So my alcohol company is Vodka, Tequila Blue, and I'm sure a lot of you have drunk those RTDs over the years. I set the business up about 12 years ago. I've engaged some incredible actors. I've got Robert De Niro as a business partner. James Packer is one of my business partners, and I'm about to expand other projects. I am a true entrepreneur. I have been very lucky in some of the decisions I've made, but I've also made a lot of unlucky decisions. And I think that's what you have to understand about being an entrepreneur, is you have to be a professional risk taker. If you're not willing to bet every single thing on the line, be passionate about your brands, don't even try. I have it in my DNA. I was born to make money. I was born to be successful. Now I'd like to talk about Matt. Matt's going to tell you a little bit about his story now.
Well, coming off that,
I shoot birds at the airport.
Exactly.
everyone's talking about it being in your DNA and all that type of stuff. For me personally, I don't think it was in my DNA at all. As a kid, I was quite shy. I was quite introverted, and I had learning difficulties. In fact, I didn't think I could learn. And at 12 years old, my dad put me into an NLP course, which stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And as you can imagine, back then, I hated learning. And to go and do a course in my holidays, I thought, no fucking way am I going to do that. But he forced me to go there, and I remember sitting in this course and learning about all this visualization shit, and I didn't think it worked. And then I left that training, and I think it was within 6 to 8 months, I went from being the dumbest in the school to the top classes. And my confidence started to grow. And I actually didn't even connect it to those types of trainings, but I knew something had changed. And I went from kind of, I suppose, having no friends and being bullied to being a leader. And I believe that we have themes in our life. And a theme in my life was always that I loved people, I loved helping people, and I loved making a difference, and I loved learning. And so that kind of kept me going, and I got into the personal development industry. And I think my first business was when I was 19, and everyone around me said, you should not be in this industry, how can you be doing it, you're shy, you're this, blah, 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 blah. But I kept persisting, and I kept working on myself. And I think a lot of people have that inside of them, that spark. And sometimes if we listen to everyone else, that spark goes out. And I decided, no, I'm going to listen to it. And it started to grow. And I got into coaching, consulting, so many different types of businesses. And my confidence started to grow. And then I decided to face my biggest fear on the planet, which was public speaking. And like, a lot of people say they're fearful of public speaking. I was so petrified, I literally would have rather died. And I remember my first presentation, I was panicking, I couldn't even talk. And I then went to this meditation retreat. And it was this free meditation retreat, and everyone there was meditating, and they taught this open eye meditation, and I thought, oh, this is cool. And it was free, and they gave you all of this food, accommodation, and it was by donation. And then I had this brainwave. I thought, I'm so petrified of presenting, what if I just run free events? I can raise a bit of money for charity, and if I'm really shit at presenting, then it doesn't matter. Exactly.
That's right.
So anyway, I was one of the originators of the kind of, I suppose, a free event model. And my confidence started to grow as a presenter, and it went from 5 people attending my events to 20 to 100, and then 600 a month, and by the time we were 26, we hit the BRW top 100 fastest growing companies, and it was wonderful. Then I lost all of that. As I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through. And then I created Your Future Now because I realised I was kind of helping everyone else with their futures, was on everyone else's goal plan. And I thought, I'm going to get back on my goal plan, and I'm sure there's other people that are living other people's goals. So I created Your Future Now. And Your Future Now has grown into many different businesses, many multi-million-dollar brands that have come through. And one program in particular, which I'm really proud of, is Live It Now. And the story behind Live It Now is a little bit tragic, but this is kind of what I talk about in our programs. Our challenges or our wounds can become our strengths or our superpowers. And when I was 13 years old, my dad, who pushed me into this stuff, we were running along Manly Beach. It was Father's Day, and he passed away. And it was such a tragic event. And I think when you have challenging experiences like that, it shakes you up. And you start to ask different questions. You look at the world in a different way. And his last conversation to me was, Matt, I think I found the key to life. You've got to live it now. And so with Your Future Now, I decided to launch Live It Now. And Live It Now has helped close to 100,000 people now. We've almost raised $1 million for charity. And we've really significantly helped people transform every aspect of their life. And I think that was my mission, was to disrupt this personal development industry that had high prices, high pressure sales tactics, and terrible results.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I built my business for the person that was like me, that no one believed in, that has been told, you're shy, you can't communicate, you can't do all of these fucking things.
And you're never going to achieve anything.
You're never going to achieve anything.
Exactly.
So I built my company for that person, the worst procrastinator ever. And so we introduced lifetime resets on our courses. I talk about when you increase emotion, you decrease intelligence. So we don't do the high pressure sales or anything like that. And that company has grown, as well as the other companies, media companies, so many different businesses. And I've worked with probably close to 2,000 different types of businesses to be able to grow, whether it be the 100K jump, the $1 million jump, the $10 million jump. And I re-examined everything, and I was like, my passion is really helping people find their passion, become entrepreneurs, and be a little bit disruptive. And I think that's where the Troublemakers is. I'm so excited about it, to be with Jules, me bringing in, I suppose, a bit of the mindset, strategy, coaching, consulting, and Jules coming from the big end of town. And you just don't get this experience in this industry. No. And so we want to disrupt the, I suppose, the business consulting world, all of it, and actually help people get tangible results.
Well, I think these days a lot of people are getting out of their jobs and they're getting disruptive, and I think that everyone needs to find their own niche and find their businesses. But for someone who has no idea about business, what is the first thing that you guys say to them, and what results have you seen?
My thing is if you don't know what you want, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. In life, a lot of people focus on what they need to get, but I think it's the journey of who you become. And going through the setbacks, I think that's what the university of an entrepreneur is giving it all you've got, being smashed over the head and being able to pick yourself back up as fast as you possibly can. And so the more setbacks that you have, the more challenges that you have, I think you get clearer. And I say clarity never comes up front, it comes on the journey.
It definitely does, and I agree with that. And I think also that we have to understand with the people that have engaged into our projects and signed up with Troublemakers is that it's a bit like The Great Escape, The Apprentice, and then, of course, with Matt and I, we create the Dragon's Den and Shark Tank element of it. And it's been very interesting seeing some of the businesses that have come across our desks and the people that we've engaged with, and the passion and the purpose and the success that they've gained over the last 18 months of doing this. There were industries that came in that I looked at Matt and rolled my eyeballs and said, no chance. I mean, this is me. I'm the most optimistic passionate person ever, and I was proven wrong. I was totally proven wrong. I mean, out of the industries that have come in, I mean, there have been industries from all walks of life.
Mosquito farming.
Exactly. And of course, these
We've
two
had
guys.
some weird ones.
Well, we're in business
That's
together
for
as
sure.
well. I mean, we are entrepreneurs building businesses together as well. But even out of the businesses that have come in, Amar, I mean, we've had growth. I think the minimal growth has been about 100% in 6 months.
100%.
100% profit.
Profit.
And that's not in
Profit.
6 months. That's
You know?
in weeks.
Weeks
That's
for
in-
some people.
that's in 2
But I'm
sits.
just giving you the worst case scenario. And the best case scenario
700%.
in
Surely not though.
yes,
When was that? How long did that take?
7 weeks. 7 weeks, 700%. All the sevens.
Was it just a mindset thing, or was there like key business things they weren't doing, or what was the specific?
I
Do you
think
feel like that?
I think community is so important, and I think a lot of business owners they can be alone, and so I kind of bring it all together. We bring it all together. So it's a community of troublemakers that are just going, do it. Let's go and disrupt. Let's go and face rejection. Let's go and face whatever it is, and this strong community that's supporting it. But it's also looking at at an unconscious level, what are your fears? What are the belief systems that are being projected into the business? Yeah. But then it's looking at obviously having a plan and then the right strategy. And so it's bringing all of that together. And I think that's a formula.
It is a formula, but I also think that, we really push them. I mean, I think that we all get into a comfort zone sometimes and we surround ourselves with negative people. I don't surround myself with negative people. I only ever surround myself with positive, passionate, remarkable people who believe in me. There are so many people that will turn around and say, you can't do it, you can't do it, and you can't do it, and people start believing that.
I love it
But
when
where
people
we
say that
come
to
in,
me.
it's very true. And I've always said to you, believe in yourself, because you're the only one that can make it happen. But what we also do, I think, in Troublemakers, which is so important, is we set milestones. We give people the confidence to be able to achieve a milestone in 3 weeks, 6 weeks, and we push the boundaries. We help them, we assist them, we support them, we have tech, we have a range of other things that Matt can talk about in more detail. But more than that, we create a passion. And that's what we've been doing, and I love it. And it's something which I never thought I'd do, but bringing my skill from the high end of town to building businesses like, Vodka O, 6100. I got involved in Jimmy Choo. I was one of the startup investors in Seek. I've been involved in some incredible opportunities. I mean, with these two boys here, we have about to disrupt, the supplement world. We're about to disrupt the olive oil industry. There are things that we do that are remarkable, fun, passionate, nimble, and that's what being a part of being an entrepreneur.
Totally.
And taking risks.
Taking a helicopter around the Gold Coast.
Well,
Yes.
we will regularly be doing that. But not just around the Gold Coast, out to our private island, the Troublemakers Island.
Well, I think also, like Jules and I have been presenting at Macquarie University on business to third-year business grads. I think there is a course now, entrepreneurship. And it's been really interesting presenting that stuff. The last presentation a couple of weeks ago, I said to the group, and there was probably about 100 or 200 people, maybe more actually.
350.
And I said, put up your hand who has a business. And these guys have done the Bachelor of Business, they're majoring in entrepreneurship. So they've been in this course for probably
You'd
almost
expect
5
maybe,
years.
okay.
5 years
Yeah.
to learn business.
That should be one of the course
Out
requirements.
of 350 people, one person put their hand up that they've got a business. And then I said, who's got an idea? Another 20 people put their hands up. And I almost said, leave the course.
Yeah,
You
that's
did.
it, you're
No,
done.
no, you did.
say-
No,
I
you
did
did.
say
You
it.
said,
leave the course.
Fuck. Get out of the course. What are you doing here?
Because the fastest way to learn business is to do it.
Exactly.
Is to do it.
Yeah, I think we all started
Yeah.
that way.
But I also think that, it's like anything. I think when we come up with an idea, we don't strive towards making it happen. We get people who, unfortunately, in our lives that tell us it's never going to happen. They don't believe in you. And there are things that you look at and you go, I could have done that. And I've seen so many successful businesses being built by other people. And I've always been passionate and I love seeing other people's success. And I think that where Matt and I fit in really well with Troublemakers is that even if people don't want us to invest in their companies, I love seeing the look on their faces when they come in and go, I've just made a huge profit, I've just doubled my profit, I've made it happen, This thing that when I first came to you two was just a dream, and you guys made me make it happen, and you believed in my dream.
Yeah, totally. I mean, look at Lee in the last session.
I know, amazing.
Kite surfing business.
Shout out to Lee.
You know, the last session, what did he do? You know,
He tripled his profit in 3
no,
weeks.
he did more than triple his
Oh.
profit. I mean, what did he
Huge.
do? He did close to 20k, and he was doing nothing in his business.
Zero.
up to
Zero for
that
6
point.
months.
And
Wow.
you know, incredible stuff, and it's so wonderful to see the breakthroughs, or what we call the breakout, that people have.
And the comfort zone extension. I mean, we all get comfortable in little zones, and we've taken them into their learning zone. Occasionally, we take them into the danger zone, which I like doing. I probably stay in the danger zone a little bit longer than most people should, but that's how I grow my business.
Baptism
So
by
it's
fire.
the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
I think on that topic about communities, like often when I sit down with people, a lot of the time they make their decisions about their business based on other people. And if you make a decision based on someone else telling you what to do, more often than not, you're going to be on their program. You're either on your own agenda or you're on someone else's. And then the biggest challenge that I see, you know, getting back to this community concept, is often, you know, someone launches a business and they hang out with a group of people that are employed. And no offense to the employees, but you don't have a fucking idea how to run a business, really, at the end of the day.
They'll tell you that. They'll tell you they do.
It's troublemakers.
We're going there, guys. Be a troublemaker.
So what happens is they're getting business advice from someone that doesn't understand psychologically what it takes to do 100k in their business, $1 million in their business, and so on and so on. And they'll project their fears onto you, because if you succeed, it means that they have to change. And so this is what we talk about: is you want to hang out with people that are doing the next breakout. So you're doing, you know, the great escape that we call it, which is to break out of your job and do your first 100k. We say you want to hang out with people that are on the next breakout, which is the 100k to $1 million, because they've already done that journey. They've got the psychological resources, the confidence, the certainty, and to be surrounded by a group of people like that, it's going to slingshot you.
And they've gone
Yeah.
through that initial failure as well. So then
Yeah.
you go, oh, I don't know if I should. Well, just do it. I failed 1,000 times, and now here I am.
Totally. And I think what's not talked about in business is mindset, because most people don't understand how to do it.
Yep.
But 90% of it is mindset. To be able to pick yourself back up, the resilience. Look at all the research that's coming out at the moment. There's TED Talks on it, which is grit and commitment. And that's simply resilience to be able to pick yourself up. And that's what we help our troublemakers do, is build that resilience at the unconscious level, so that when you get a challenge, you pick yourself back up and you keep driving through until you get that breakout.
So for people who want to join up or come see the magic that you guys weave, how do they do it?
Troublemakers.com.au.
Yep.
And we have a one-day event called the Troublemakers Disruption Tour. And the website for that is troublemakers.com.au/disrupt.
And is it a free event, or does it cost, or how?
It's a free event.
Wow.
And as Jules said, it's a combination of Shark Tank, The Amazing Race,
The Great Escape,
The Apprentice.
The Apprentice, and it's a bit of everything. And you get Matt and I all day, okay? But not just that. I mean, with the Troublemakers network that we've created, to get someone like me to spend time building your business, and to get Matt building your mindset, unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. Out of the businesses that signed up for us, and there's been a number, I thought at least 30% would fail. Guess what? They're all still there. I was proven wrong.
Amazing.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. And we'll see you next time on the Troublemakers podcast.